It's my journey, it's your journey. You need my help and I need yours, 'cause we are following the Lord. It's my journey, it's your journey, but we won't make the trip alone, 'cause we know God will lead us home.
Today we're going to talk about the Second Pentecost and also St. John Paul II and the Second Pentecost. It is certainly no secret that we live in a world of woundedness, and so many are searching for something more than what the world is offering. At the same time, we know that where evil abounds, grace abounds all the more. And with that in mind, we have to believe that God has been preparing something to bring healing into our wounded world in an awesome manner. We're going to examine some of the words of the saints of the past pointing to the future. Their words seem to be pointing directly to our times, and if they are pointing to a Gentle Revolution or Second Pentecost or new evangelization. Now's the time to get excited. I have wanted to talk about this for years, but did not have all the pieces of the puzzle. Now in the last few months and days it's all come together, and happy to present it to you. Bob and Penny Lord often referred to a gentle revolution in their talks. In order to articulate what this gentle revolution was about, first we need to lay down a little history of their walk with the Lord and some interesting events that have already happened. Hang on, we will get to these events. The saints discovered that it was our woundedness that destroys our peace and happiness in this world, and furthermore, if we do not deal with it, we transmit it to others, usually to those closest to us. Keep listening. I'm going to reveal some of that now. First, what saints inspired them? They were devoted to many saints, and there were a few that I want to highlight for the sake of this discussion, and you will see how this begins to fit together. First, St. John Paul II. St. John Paul II was inspired us by one of his most inspiring encyclicals was Mother of the Redeemer, Mater Redemptoris. In this encyclical, our Pope recommended we study the life of St. Louis Marie de Montfort. Now, while we were in Poland in the 90s, many of the priests and monsignors and even bishops that we met told us that while the world was in crisis everywhere, Pope John Paul II kept telling them about a second Pentecost was coming. And they were confused why he would suggest that when it was doom and gloom everywhere. And if you go to my presentation yesterday on the prophecy of Louis de Montfort, you will see exactly what he was talking about and how that he was getting ideas from St. Louis de Montfort. Now, another one is Father Goby of the Mary Movement of Priests. He also provided information about the Second Pentecost in his article number 428. This was at the Valdegrande di San Marino, June the 28th, 1990. Spiritual exercises in the form of a cynical with the directors of the Marian Movement of Priests from America and Europe. Beloved sons, again this year I've called you up here on this mountain to live days of brotherly sharing and of prayer with me in a continued cynical as was that of Jerusalem. You are entering into the last decade of this century of yours, when the events of which I have foretold you will come to completion, and when my secrets will be revealed. You are entering to the time of the triumph of my Immaculate Heart. You are now close to the Second Pentecost. The Second Pentecost will come because even now there are spread about in every part of the world the cynicals of prayer which I have asked for of you many times, and with greater and greater insistence. You are here so that you yourselves may undergo the sweet and powerful experience of the cynical, which I make myself particularly present among you, in order that you can become apostles of cynicals in every part of the world. My Immaculate Heart is the new and spiritual cynical into which all the church must enter in order to obtain the gift of the new Pentecost. The second Pentecost will come like a river of grace and of mercy which will purify the church and make her pure, poor and chaste, humble and strong, without spot or wrinkle, all beautiful in imitation of your heavenly mother. You are here to be molded by me in order to become the new heart of this church, completely renewed by the Spirit. For this reason, you must allow yourselves to be formed by me in order to arrive at a complete change of heart. Let your heart become meek and humble, gentle and merciful, sensitive and pure. Let your heart be a chalice filled with smooth balm, which runs over and flows down to close open and bleeding wounds, in order to comfort innumerable sufferings and sorrows, to give hope to the desperate, grace to sinners, comfort to the ailing, help to the needy, peace to the distressed, courage to the disheartened. The second Pentecost will come like a dew upon the world and will transform the desert into a garden into which all humanity will run, like a spouse to meet her Lord, in a renewed covenant of love with him. Thus the most holy Trinity will receive its great glory, and Jesus will restore his glorious reign of love among you. For this reason you must become the silent and courageous artisans of this general renewal. Take into your priestly arms this poor ailing humanity and bring it to the maternal clinic of my Immaculate Heart, that it may be healed by your Heavenly Mother. You do this when you bring everyone, priests, faithful children, youth, and families, to the consecration to my Immaculate Heart. That was from Father Goby's Marian Movement of Priests, which I highly recommend that you get a copy of that book. There's a link, and also the text of what I said and more is in the link below. And also remember to subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much, and God bless you.